Hi, and welcome to Beer Grilled Skinny, where a mother-daughter team embraces the random. I'm the daughter, Lori Ann.
And I'm the mom, Justine.
Remember that time when we were living in Los Angeles and we had Granny there with us? And she had had a diagnosis of Parkinson's. And I can't remember, I haven't done a lot of studies on Parkinson's, so I don't know how many of the symptoms come from the actual disease and how many come from the medication that they use to try to slow down the disease. But in any case, she would have hallucinations.
What I remembered was she could have a thought, but by the time it came out of her mouth, you couldn't understand it.
Oh, I understand that. It definitely messed up her speech.
Yeah, we couldn't play Scrabble anymore.
But the point of this
We
story
did laugh.
is, so I was taking acting lessons because we're in LA, of course. Why else would we be there? And one day I came home and she had called 911 when I came in the door because she thought I was dealing drugs in the parking lot.
And I was already in bed.
If anyone knows me, and those of you who don't, if you ever see me, you're gonna know that I don't take drugs and I certainly don't deal drugs. And I laughed when I found out she thought I was dealing drugs in the parking lot. And then the police showed up. They knocked on the door. I opened the door. It was two guys, and they both had their guns drawn. And I didn't really even think about being nervous. I just was like, hi. And so they explained why they came, and I explained that my grandmother had Parkinson's and it sometimes caused hallucinations, and I was so sorry. And they said at the end of it, because they had their adrenaline high, like,
Well,
we're getting a drug deal. And then they see me and they're like, we are so not getting a drug deal.
Somewhere in there, it was prudent that I get up out of the bed and come out there.
Because they wanted to know who all was in the house.
Okay.
It was an apartment.
And then I got the story. And
You did get the story.
I said, if I was dealing drugs, we wouldn't be living here.
Well, it wasn't you that they thought were dealing drugs. Granny said it was me, that she saw me out there. Anyhow, they worked out pretty quickly that we were just three women struggling to live, and their adrenaline started to come down, and they said, keep her away from the phone. And I realize now, did you know it's a thing? If you abuse 911, that's actually, I don't know if it's a misdemeanor or a felony, but it's a crime, and you can be arrested.
I didn't know that.
But they looked at her, and obviously they weren't going to take that poor little old lady to jail, but I feel like they might have taken me to jail if she got to call 911 again.
What was so funny about it that I remember is that when you were relaying the story to me, and I looked at Mom, and she got this little grin on her face, like, I know I shouldn't have done that.
I didn't see the grin.
I know.
I was a little bit frustrated.
Yeah. It was not easy.
But here's the relevant point for me. So that's when I found out that some people with Parkinson's, I don't know if it's the medication or the actual Parkinson's, have hallucinations. And this was around the time that Janet Reno was a big figure in the administration. And I started going, oh my goodness, because she got Parkinson's and refused to retire.
Ooh.
And I thought, somebody should tell this woman to retire because the medication could be bad, or maybe it's just the illness. I haven't really followed Michael J. Fox's journey on Parkinson's. I feel like he's navigated it really well. He got it at a very young age.
Yeah, he was in his 30s.
I know. And he's fought it and put all of his money into research, and I really appreciate that. I don't know if he has hallucinations. I'd be curious to know from any of the people out there that have Parkinson's, because eventually you guys are going to engage and give us some comments.
I know.
And I'd like to know if any of you have had these kinds of issues, or if we should have been taking my grandmother to the doctor to find out maybe there were other things going on.
Well, there was a really good doctor in Atlanta that diagnosed her, and we were using her for guidance. But then she also decided to move to California, but she moved to someplace way too far. But I didn't know that, and I had thought bringing Mom out there, I'd get to use the same doctor. Well, no, that didn't happen.
Medicine is a difficult journey
is.
to navigate.
It is.
So, I'm not sure where we're going with this. Today, we're just embracing the random.
Yeah.
Random thing. I'm just going to switch gears. I mentioned the acting class. That's right. Beer grilled skinny. I was taking an acting class, and I was a very naive, innocent young woman, and I have gotten too old to not sound sarcastic all the time, but I'm serious. I was a naive, innocent young woman, and I was in this class where they would do improv, and they just wanted you to go for it. So I was in this improv, and this guy just randomly decided to French kiss me.
Ooh.
Nowadays, you would call that sexual assault.
Yeah.
Ironically, that was my first French kiss. By the way, it wasn't very good.
Well, you've had many good ones put on top of that.
I have. My first kiss when I was 18 and I was going to that Bible college, when he kissed me, this was he's not my first love, but he's the first one I got a little action from, one kiss. And he only used his lips, and it was epic.
Oh, I had forgotten about that.
You forget about a lot of things.
Yeah, I do. I have a lot of information to try to stack up in this.
I know, and we can't figure out how to make the hard drive bigger. It's quite annoying. Yeah, he kissed me. I thought it was awesome. And then right after, he ruined it by going, well, that was just a kiss. It's not like I want to be with you.
Well, I don't know then what, just a kiss?
I think
you could kiss the tree over here if you just want a kiss.
I don't know. But nothing beat the first kiss from my husband.
Yeah.
I remember that. I landed in Australia, and I went to Melbourne, and I had been on planes. Just so y'all know, I think Virginia might be a direct line through the earth to Melbourne. So I went about as far as I could go. I had to fly to LA, I had to fly to Hawaii, then I had to fly to Melbourne, and I can't remember if I had to stop in New Zealand to get to Melbourne, and it took 42 hours. And I get there, and I knew nothing about international travel. So I get to customs. I don't know how many of you know about international travel, but when you get to customs, they want to know things like, where are you going? When are you leaving? What's your passport? And they asked me where I was going, and I'm like, I didn't think to ask for his address, but he's out there waiting on me. We could all go out there together, and he would tell you where he lives. And these customs agents, they were hilarious. They knew I was not coming there to sneak into Australia and stay. They could see I had a return ticket, and they just rolled their eyes and let me go through. So there we were. I got there. He takes me out to the parking lot to his car. We're about to head to his home, and then we had our first kiss. And it was glorious. And I've been with him 20 and a half years now. Don't regret a moment of it.
I think your dad was my first kiss. I haven't had a whole lot of kisses. I haven't had a whole lot of men with a number of kisses, and evidently same for you, except this first kiss of yours was epic.
I loved my first kiss. I loved my first kiss with my husband. I loved all the kisses in between. There was kissing. I've had kisses. One of the best kisses, aside from my husband, was I had been very, very virginal and not wanting to do one-night stands. And then, I don't know, I was in this bar one night, and this guy seemed really hot. And he went outside, and I followed him. And then he threw me up against the wall and kissed me. And I could feel him, if you get my meaning. And he was like, come home with me. And I instantly thought, does he have venereal disease? Is he going to murder me? Is he a serial killer?
That's the wisdom of my girl.
Apparently it was enough wisdom because I'm like, no, I'm not coming home with you. So yeah, I've had a few kisses, but not a lot of other action.
I didn't know about having other action, and my marriage was busted, and I was doing a little bit of clubbing, and I really didn't know anything.
Ooh, is this the part where you tell us how psychotic you were?
Yes.
I love this story.
So I met this guy at a club, and I thought, because, I was hankering for some sex, I thought, this is it. I'm going to do it. And so...
Was this before or after that fella you met at the hospital?
Before.
Okay.
I know it didn't improve.
You did not.
Because I didn't check to see if this one was going to
I
hell or
almost
not.
had to shoot him.
I know. So anyhow, I led him to believe, because I was kind of believing that we were going to do more than just kissing. So I got in a car with him. He went up to his apartment. We
It
went
was an
in.
apartment?
Mm-hmm.
I always pictured that as a house.
Well, maybe it was. Sometimes I think house too, but I'm probably being influenced by
That's okay.
California and storytelling.
That's okay. I have this whole picture of the kitchen in my head, and it's a big kitchen.
Yes,
and
it was a
I'm
big
getting
kitchen.
ahead of the story.
Yes, she's about to tell my story if I don't jump in here.
No, I'm not.
So I went to the bathroom and I looked in the mirror and I'm like, you fool, you don't know anything about this guy. You don't know what he's going to do to you. You don't know where this is going to lead. So I went,
You know you should have done that at the bar.
yes, I should have.
Like I just did.
Yes, I should have. So I came out of the bathroom and I told him I wanted to leave, that I had made a mistake. And he was like arguing with me. And so I went in the kitchen and I got this knife and I said, you don't know anything about me and I could hurt you really bad. And he got up and he said, I'll take you back to the bar and you can get in your car.
Well, as you would.
Yeah,
You're lucky he didn't call the cops on you.
I know. Well, he was probably thinking he shouldn't have been doing it either. And sometimes when guilt is on you, you don't do the right thing.
I do not
I'm
believe
so
that,
thankful
Mom.
that he didn't call the cops.
I do not believe that. I think he thought he got a pickup, and he was getting ready to get some action, and then you come out of the bathroom and show that you're batshit crazy.
Yeah. It's kind of like when you watch the stories on television. People hook up together and have some sex and go on their merry way. It just didn't work for me.
Which is why you shouldn't have made him take you to his house to begin with.
I was trying.
Why?
Because I wanted some.
Okay. I mean, I wanted some. I was ready to hook up. I had spent a lot of time not hooking up, and we moved to Virginia. I had given up in LA, and we moved to Virginia, and then I started getting... This was back in the early days of the internet, so I started meeting various men on the internet, and some of them wanted to hook up with me, and I was like, this is my moment. I'm going to go into my slut phase. I'm tired of being virginal, celibate, all of that stuff, and so I was like, I'm ready. And I actually set up a couple different appointments, and then this dumbass I've been married to for 21 years comes along and makes me fall in love with him.
Yeah.
And so then I had to tell all these men, well, it's two men. I had to say, well, things have changed because I'm not the kind of person to sleep around if I'm in love with someone else. And I was like, I'm in love now, and I'm not going to sleep with you.
Meet up with you. We had no more meeting up.
And one of them became a relatively good acquaintance. He was really impressed that I was so honest with him about, here I am.
Is that the one from California or the one from New York?
The one from New York.
Oh.
I don't remember the one from California. Oh, no, I dated him. The one from California, I dated him before I ever met my husband.
That's true.
That's another person I kissed.
Oh, okay.
And we had a pretty good time, but just wasn't meant to be.
Yeah.
He became a good friend, though, and I really appreciate him. And he's finally found a lovely wife, and it's made him look younger, and the two of them are just gorgeous together. Sometimes you're with someone and it doesn't work out, and it's not because...
Something's wrong with one of you.
Exactly. It's just...
It's not wrong.
You don't
it's just
mesh.
differences. Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, I can remember when I went to a club in Atlanta with my friend Ginger, my friend Ginger. And
Really?
yeah.
Huh.
And I met a guy at the bar. And
Now that woman was a wild
she
one.
was a wild
She was
woman.
very
But
wild.
she was very faithful to her husband, too.
I appreciate that, but she was still
could
wild.
flirt. She could flirt and laugh.
She
Lord,
could.
she would laugh.
And she could keep track of her cigarettes, too.
Yes, she could. So anyhow, I met this guy at the bar, and I mean, the flame appeared between the two of us. I mean, like magic. And so he got me outside as far as his van, and the van was set up like a bedroom. And
I would just like to point out that my mom is not very good at this, and that's why she's not with anyone. And that's why we have a rule that even at 80, if someone comes along, my husband and I must vet the fellow.
and I kneeled to that. Yes,
I would just like
not
to
in
point
trouble.
out, it wasn't really a flame. It was just pheromones. It's a chemical
Okay.
reaction.
All right, whatever. But what stopped me was he was married, and I did not want to do to some other woman what had been done to me. And so I kind of cooled off, went back in, had another drink, and Ginger and I took off home.
I remember that time where I was ready to sleep with a married man because this was just before I was trying to enter my slut phase. And I'm like, this guy, I'm really attracted to him. And we're going to go off on his boat. Boating is a theme. And have some fun. I was never intending to take him from his wife. I do not know how that came into my mind. Like, I can just justify it because I'm not going to break up the marriage. I just want to have some sex. That's a terrible idea.
I know.
And it didn't work out, and I'm very glad, and I'm very repentant over even considering that.
Yeah.
You don't do that. If you want to sleep with a married person, the married person needs to break up with the
Yes.
spouse first.
Yes.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
My husband and I are very specific about what cheating is. And for us, it includes kissing someone else and getting too intimate emotionally.
Yeah.
You don't get to connect with someone of the opposite sex. So, for an example, I have this really good friend that I met online, and he lives in Hawaii, and my husband has talked to him. And the thing that makes it okay is that nothing we ever talk about is a secret.
Yeah.
If my husband is like, oh, I'm in the mood to see what you two are talking about, it's all open.
Yeah.
He's usually not, though, because we talk a lot about movies and Star Wars and stuff that my husband's like, ugh, I couldn't even care less. But he really loves the guy. One of our goals is to go off to Hawaii and hang out with him in person. That's how you do a friendship with the opposite sex. Or should you be LGBT? I mean, I don't know. I'd love to hear from the people who are gay. Are you okay with your significant other hanging out with someone of the same sex? Are you, whether you're male or female?
Yeah. When does it become deceit? When does it become detrimental to
And when
the
does it become
relationship?
inappropriate? And do you know when to say, oh, no, this is not where I was going with this?
Yeah.
Because there are people who don't feel the same way that we do, that will be
know,
like,
yeah.
oh, I'm just going to hone in on you, and I don't
know.
care if you're with someone.
And some people, that's their relationship. They don't have to hone in. They'll be like, yeah, we're a twosome, but I really want to do something with that person over there. And so they have an agreement that it's okay to do that.
Yeah, that never works out. I've looked at the statistics. Once you start going outside of the relationship, it destroys the relationship. It just does. It's not healthy at all, especially if you're not both involved. Not that I even think that would work. My husband and I used to joke about, oh, if we found the right woman, we'd have a threesome.
There is no right woman. It just comes down to that.
I don't know. I don't know that there's a lot of women that would be interested in the two of us, and we're not hunting for her.
Yeah.
It was a fun fantasy for like the first 15 years of our marriage, and then I was like, I'm so over this. We're never going to do anything like this. He doesn't want to do anything like this.
But there was a time when he was willing to get me into some of the houses in Australia so I could get some of
Which
this.
literally has nothing to do with what I'm talking about.
I was just thinking.
I understand, and now I have to explain it. Australia has made brothels legal, and they have men in these brothels. And my husband, my mom took him seriously, jokingly said, I can take you down somewhere, and you can have a little bit of fun. And she took it seriously.
I did. I'm still taking it seriously. I think he meant what he said.
I'm pretty sure you're wrong. I mean, he would do it if he wanted to, but he wasn't really suggesting it is the part where I think you're wrong.
Okay.
He was not like, oh, my mother-in-law is down in Australia on my list of things to do. Let's take her and get her, I don't know what to call that without making this something inappropriate, but y'all know what I mean. That's not what he meant.
Okay.
He was being funny. I promise you he was being funny. He would have done it for you if you wanted him to.
Yeah, he would.
But it wasn't his idea. He
and there are
wasn't
moments
serious
when I
about
think,
it.
Yeah, it could be fun, but I don't dwell on it.
I mean, it depends on, I think about when there's certain novels that we read where they write it in a way where it can be a healing experience, almost a psychological experience. And we've seen shows like Firefly where there was Mal would call her a whore.
Yeah.
I can't remember. Oh, companion. That's what they called her. And she would go and really give comfort to people, and it happened to involve sex.
Yeah.
I'm not judgmental. It's not for me.
Yeah, and a lot of it, I think, is cultural. You know, we don't all look at things the same culture to culture.
I don't know if it's all cultural. It's very complicated. But I know in my culture, it was good that I said no to that guy outside the bar. And it was good that you...
threatened somebody with a knife.
No, that part was not good. You never should have gone to his home. And going out to a van, and you were still tempted, and the only reason you didn't do it was because he was married? What is wrong with you? You must have been really horny.
I was. I really was. So we started off talking about my mom.
Having Parkinson's
Yes.
and calling the cops. And now we're just like, let's talk about all the times we kissed people.
Well, it takes me back to how in love she and Dad were, because my dad was very problematic in a number of ways. But he was faithful to her. I think he told me one time about a woman in the church that came up and kissed him. I don't know why he told me about that. But anyhow, moving along, she loved her man. And when he was in the casket, she leaned over and said, "Don't leave me, baby." Mm-hmm. And I was happy for her.
And on that note, if anyone has stuck around this long, comment, ask questions, subscribe.
Yes.
We would love to hear from you.
Yeah, we want to interact with people just to get more random.
That's correct. You could come up with something random. You don't even have to ask questions specific to something we've said. You could just share something you've been through, and we would be interested.
Yes.
In any case, thanks for joining us, and we will see you the next time.
Bye-bye.
In every moment together, we conquer our fears, with dreams in our hearts and the world in our sight. We're beer grill skinny, ready